Growing up, I used to love swimming lessons along with my siblings. Their teacher was Red Cross certified, and they had a little program you would work your way through, little check boxes on a colored sheet. As you rose in level, you had to take on increasingly difficult challenges, swimming longer and longer distances and greater strokes. But the part I dreaded the most was the part where you had to do nothing at all. You simply floated. I was a pretty skinny kid, not very good at the whole floating thing. And as the requirements rose and you had to float for a longer and longer time, I was more and more challenged. I tried to arch my back and take a deep breath, hold on as long as I could, but no matter what, first my feet would start to sink, and then my legs, and then the rest of my body. And treading water was very similar. You'd be out there thrashing around in the middle of the pool, trying to make it to the timer. And it was not at all something that I enjoyed. Years later, as I got deeper into spirituality and began to reach out to different ways of understanding our faith, I ran into an approach to faith or spirituality or the Bible that reminded me of those thrashing moments. The idea seemed to be that God wants you to be happy, so that if you are Christian, you must be happy all the time, always with a smile on your face, and that this was how you would evangelize and witness to others. Don't you also want to be happy all the time? Those smiles can get a little fixed. And I think sooner or later, if you take such an approach, you're going to feel like I did in the pool, treading water and sinking a little lower and lower. Our readings today encourage us to take a different approach, and I'm reminded here of something that I enjoyed very much. I love diving. I loved going deep into the deep end of the pool to get rings or rods or whatever they may be, and then coming back to the top with my treasures to do it all over again. And we see that, I think, in the first reading, but it's a very common form of almost poetry in the Old Testament. The valley, going down deep on the one side and being very honest about our feelings and our emotions. A sense that life is frustrating right now. It is not going your way. Even crying out to God, where are you right now? I'm feeling abandoned. This kind of prayer is an honest prayer of the heart, where we lay before God everything that we are dealing with. And then at the very bottom, when we're really being true and honest about our experiences, the prophets are so often able to say, but I still have God. And then they're able to rise again out the other side of that valley. It's not treading water. It's not a refusal to ever be sad or to face our darker emotions. We find God at the base of that valley, even when it seems that we are rejected. So Isaiah has his mission, he has his purpose. It's not going well, the mission. People aren't listening very well. People are harming him in one way or another. He's still got God. And so he has the confidence to persevere. Who disputes my right? He says at the end of this poem, Bring it on. He's encouraged once more. He and God can face the world. Similarly, in the gospel, we have Jesus who's laying out the mission. And he says, who am I? And they say, you're the Christ. And that in and of itself is a huge step. They understand that Jesus is the Christ. There's just one problem. They don't know what that means. So the second step is perhaps an even bigger one. To follow in the footsteps of Christ doesn't mean a constant smile. It doesn't mean everything's always going great. It doesn't mean everything is always easy. There's a challenge to that. It can be a hard road to walk sometimes, but a worthwhile one. We wind up in a good place. So Jesus is saying once more, we're going to have to confront the valley. We're going to have to confront the tough times, but that does not mean that you are abandoned. It means you're following God. It means you're following in the footsteps of Jesus. So you go down that darker road so you can find that treasure and you can make your way back out the other side. one more piece that is missing here. That idea of treading water, desperate for air, and trying to be happy all the time. And it kind of falls into this me and God spirituality where it's just us, right? I'm just here to be happy, and I'm going to be a Christian because that's what's going to make me happy. And when you feel maybe that challenge, those roots maybe getting a little shallow, you might be tempted to give up on Jesus because it's just not making me happy. But we're not in it only for us. It's not just about me and Jesus. And we hear that in the second reading, right? What good is it, my brothers and sisters, if someone says he has faith but does not have works? Can that faith save him? Right? This wonderful, it comes to mind so often for me. If a brother or sister has nothing to wear, no food for the day, and one of them says to you, go in peace, keep warm, and eat well, but you do not give them the necessities of the body, what good is it? We might say today, thoughts and prayers, right? Thoughts and prayers. We're not going to do anything to help address any of these problems, but, thinking of you. James challenges us to enter into this valley and to reach out to others who are in valleys of their own. This is the mission of Christianity. If you're going to go deep into the Red Cross swimming lessons, and I'll be honest, I couldn't float long enough to make it to the higher levels, ultimately, you get to be a lifeguard. And you're not just sitting there on the beach because it's comfy and the sun is shining. You're there to help people. You're there because you've got a mission. And so this is, to my mind, the mission of Christianity. The joy, we may not always feel it in the moment. The joy comes in doing the work of God and reaching out and helping others. Thank you for joining us today, and let's turn now and profess our creed.